Hey guys, welcome to the JennDanielle experience, and here I am once again making a video in the year 2023 when I said I was done for the year. But I feel like we need to talk because I feel like my last video I did where I sat down and talked to you guys, I didn't really do a thorough walkthrough of my top moments of the year. So that is what this is. We are counting down my top 5 moments and trips of the year. So pour you up a glass of wine. I got mine. Y'all know I'm a Merlot girl. I am fancy now, especially after going on celebrity cruises, but more on that later. So let's get into this top 5 countdown and go through my favorite moments of 2023. All right, so my plan for this series is to share some never before seen footage because unfortunately a couple of things that made this list did not get videos done for them, like for whatever reason. A lot of times I just get overwhelmed, and if an event has passed and it's been too long, I forget what I wanted to say about it. So I'm going to show you guys some never before seen footage and some things that I didn't quite edit. All right, so coming in at number 5 is something I have not talked about on YouTube, but during the month of February, I was interviewed by NBC Peacock, and I was able to do just a little news segment talking about being a solo traveler. The segment was called Positive Influence, and it's definitely something that I was so proud of because to get recognized by the news, like, yeah, completely crazy. Here's a little bit of footage from that and a little bit of how the interview went.
And JennDanielle is not only a solo traveler, but she's been using her social platforms to help others do it confidently, traveling alone, and of course, the most important thing, on a budget. So Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So what was your first solo trip like? Let's start with that.
So my first solo trip was Thanksgiving of 2021. And of course, we were coming out of the pandemic. And so I told myself the whole time we were locked inside, if I ever get an opportunity to get out of here, nothing is going to hold me back. And I'm going to do all of the things I've always wanted to do. And so my first solo trip ended up, I, of course, went for the photos and wanted to have the experience and everything, but I gained so much confidence from that trip, and it just made me want to do more and more and just continue to go, which is how I kind of led into becoming a solo traveler. So the host of that show reached out to me via DM, and I was completely taken back because let me tell you, I had like maybe 2 or 3 days to prepare, and my wig was slipping back, y'all. So it was a whole thing. I was like such an ass before that interview, but it worked out. I happened to be in Memphis with my parents, and so I made everybody go into separate rooms and where they couldn't listen in because I was so nervous. But I was so grateful for that opportunity, and thank you again to NBC, Peacock, and everyone else that was involved to get me on the show because it was definitely one of my top moments of the year. All right, guys, so number 4 is one that I really struggled with where to put it because I really wanted it to be number 1, but there were just so many big moments this year that I had to make it 4. So I'll let you know about the others, but that was getting an opportunity to go to Woman Evolve. If you don't know, like, I love me some Sarah Jakes Roberts. I love Touré Roberts. I listen to sermons frequently, TD Jakes, all 3 of them really. And so at the last minute, I was given an opportunity to come in as an influencer and cover the event. And the thing that I love so much about this is that you guys usually ask me about it more than cruising. Like, maybe cruising starts the conversation with you guys, but when you meet me in person, you're like, how did you get to do Woman Evolve, and what was it like? And so I love that so much because y'all know I am a God girl, and God is all of this, has put all this together without a doubt. So I was really excited to get to cover that event, and it was just an experience getting to go to the media room. And this was one of the things I didn't get to talk to you guys about that I really wanted to. And so I was considered to be a member of the press. And so I came in, had my little lanyard, was like real official, and got to go to the media room and where they did like interviews. So Yvonne Orji was there, who is from Insecure. If you don't know, she was Molly. Devon Franklin was there. And so, you know, lots of big names. You got to see them get interviewed right there. And it gave you the ability to go back and forth in and out of the conference. And all of the speakers at the conference were so good. I mean, Brene Brown was one of them. Of course, her mom, Sarita Jakes, was there. Who else was a speaker? I really love the men's panel that was there. So they brought in David Mann. Devon Franklin was on there. Who else was there? I know TD Jakes and his son. Forgive me, I do not know his son's name. But there were just so many amazing speakers and events. And that event like literally changed my life because I heard Sarah talk about being scared that no one was going to show up. Now, mind you, this was in Texas at Globe Life Field. 40,000 women showed up. And for Sarah Jakes Roberts to say, I was afraid that nobody was going to show up at my event, I was like, who am I to not be afraid? And that's really what kind of led me into what will be the number one on this list. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But there have been so many things that I've listened to, and like one of her sermons, which is called Wrestling Doubt, is the sermon that I play over and over and over. I should know it by heart by now at this point, because anytime I have a big moment, I listen to it because it talks about having to wrestle doubt. And basically the premise is that you have to tell yourself in your mind that that is the lie, that God really wants these great things for you and that you're supposed to be in these places. And so I live by that sermon. I feel like it was curated for me, but I'm sure you guys will get something out of it too. So be sure to check it out if you have not yet. But here's a little footage from what I experienced at Woman Evolve. Welcome to the Woman Evolve Conference 2023. So this is my first time actually traveling to the conference. I did attend last year in Atlanta, and I want to give you guys a view of what it's like as a solo traveler to come to a conference. It was a little overwhelming, if I'm honest, the last time I did it, and so I'm going to be implementing some tips and sharing with you guys what I do this time, so stay tuned. We getting through this thing. So number 3, and now that I'm done talking about Woman Evolve, we picking the wine back up. So number 3 was meeting the man, the myth, Tyler Perry. Y'all, that event, so that just happened in October of this year. And so after that event, it was just something about me where I was like, look, girl, if you can make it into Tyler Perry Studios and meet Tyler Perry, you can do anything. So I have been a menace ever since that event. But it really did do a lot for my confidence as a creator, as a person, just because it was something that I knew that it was special and that it was something that you can't just buy. Like you can buy a ticket to certain events, you can buy your way into certain places, but that meeting Tyler Perry is something that you cannot buy. And so to be invited to come to the studio, invited to cover the event as an influencer, it just shot my confidence all the way up. And I needed that. Like, I needed it. Y'all know I talk about it all the time, kind of the struggles I have with just self-doubt and imposter syndrome and all of that. So going to that event was perfect timing because I needed it for what was later to come in the rest of the year. So I think I have a little bit of footage I can insert here from that event, but just to give you guys a little bit of backstory of what it was. So Nicole Avant, who is Clarence Avant's daughter, her mom tragically was killed by an intruder, and so she wrote a book about grief, and they wanted influencers to come in and talk about the book, spread the message about the book and the story and all of that. And so it was really, really a special opportunity because we got to go to the White House that was in Tyler Perry Studios. And I've been to Tyler Perry Studios a couple times. Y'all know I be doing some of everything, but I did background for Wild and Out, and I did background for Divorce Court. And so I've been in those gates and I've seen it, but I have never seen that White House. And apparently everybody knew it was there. It's a replica of the actual White House, the size and all that. It would have been more interesting if I had ever seen the White House. So I guess that's something I got to do in 2024. So I didn't realize like how big of a deal that replica was when I was there. But yeah, so the event was held in there. We got to walk around. We took a picture with him. We got to sit down and listen to them speak and everything. So truly, truly special event. So I have not shared any of this footage on YouTube, so you guys get to see it first. So here it is.
Story, it's moving, it's powerful. Her parents helped shape the entire industry, and I'm just so excited that we get a chance to get.
All right, guys, so we have made it to numero two. We at number 2. So, my top second moment of the year. Well, no, this wasn't hard. This wasn't hard because number 1 is number 1. But the top second moment of the year was, of course, my trip to Greece. So Virgin Voyages invited me out to cover their celebration cruise with Richard Branson, who is Virgin's founder. And I took my very first international flight, went to Greece, and something that I never mentioned that was really important to me was, since this was my first international flight, I really kind of didn't have an opportunity to choose what I wanted. So I flew economy. Y'all, I was so scared. I was not going to be comfortable because if y'all don't know, I'm 5'9". And so I was like sitting on that plane all that time. It's going to be rough. But I toughed it through and it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. I was just really afraid of like the pain that would come from sitting that long. And honestly, I was afraid the plane was gonna fall out of the sky. I'm just gonna say it. I was scared. I was scared flying over all that water. As if I could ever do anything if the plane fell anywhere else. But it was just something about the thought of flying over that water that had me like, nope. But the flight ended up going flawlessly. I had an amazing time. And what was even more special was my very first passport stamp was done in Germany. And my grandma actually grew up in Germany because my great-grandfather was in the military. And so she used to always, like, when we would ask her stories about her childhood, she would talk about the time she lived in Germany and how much she loved Germany. So I never told anybody, but it was very ironic that that was the first stamp I got and the first international place I technically visited, because that's where my layover was before I got to Athens, Greece. But y'all, Greece was a dream. It was such a dream. There's so many things I feel like I have not talked about in detail that I need to. Of course, I did the vlogs for Greece, which I'm going to make those a movie. So we're going to bring those back up eventually in 2024 after I catch up on the other footage I have. But Greece was so amazing. And I tell people, like, now, let me make sure I make this clear because I don't want to put the wrong thing out in the universe. But I want to get married. However, I never dreamed of wearing a wedding dress. I dreamed of wearing a Santorini dress. So when I was able to check that off my list, oh, it was everything for me. So I went to Santorini and did that. And Bodrum, Turkey, Virgin like took some content of me that they're going to use at a later date. What else did I do? I went to Mykonos overnight. I'm not a big partier or clubber, but being able to know that I've seen Mykonos is just huge. So I never thought that I would get to really see these international places. I thought I would go to Jamaica since I now have my passport. I was like, I'll probably visit Jamaica, but it wasn't even in my mind to dream as big as to go those places. And so to get to visit Greece, not on my dime, and to know that my skill set of using this phone and this face got me there. Oh yeah. See, that should have been the one that like was like, girl, you popping. But y'all know, look, don't let my head get big. My head ain't gonna get big. But Greece was an absolute dream and it's something I will never forget. So thank you to Virgin Voyages for that opportunity. You guys can check out those vlogs, but of course I'm gonna put a little bit of video here so you can see a little bit of a recap of what happened during my time in Greece. So we have reached the #1 event of the year. So we've talked about being on the news. We've talked about Woman Evolve, meeting Tyler Perry, going to Greece. So what could possibly be the #1 thing and my #1 moment of this year? Well, it's none other than Friendsgiving. Y'all, I know y'all are eager for these vlogs to come out. They're not great, I won't lie, because I was in the moment and hosting. But the Friendsgiving group cruise was everything to me. It brought everything so full circle. And I loved meeting some of you guys so much. Like, getting to meet my followers, getting to just be in my element and be myself. Like, when I first walked into that group cruise, I stressed myself out and psyched myself out, because I'm gonna tell y'all, like, I'm gonna let y'all in my head. My biggest thing is, I don't want y'all to meet me in person and be like, that girl is weird as fuck. And so I had just so much like doubt and just felt like I had to like put on a show and just be just so chipper the whole time and just be like on point this entire cruise. And y'all, when I tell y'all, from the moment I walked in there, I felt so at home. Like, I was my loud, normal self. I partied and partied and partied with everybody, which was a little bit out of the ordinary for me. But I mean, I loved it so much that, a little spoiler, I am going to host another one next year. Now, it's not going to be over Thanksgiving, but I am going to host another group cruise. So keep that out. I will be sure to link the email address or the link in the description so that you can get on the wait list to be the first to get the official information. I'm still working through a little bit of the background, which is technically why I'm supposed to be on break from posting right now. It's because I'm supposed to be working on getting my business stuff in order. But Friendsgiving was such a great experience, y'all. That first day, y'all know I'm emotional. Y'all know I'm a Cancer, and I cry all the time at the drop of a dime. But that first day, I was very emotional. But afterwards, like, just hearing, for me, the most important thing was like hearing what it meant to the people that came. You know, even the couples, like, so it was a group of couples. We had sisters, we had best friends, friend groups. Who else? Of course, tons of solo travelers. And so just hearing what that experience meant to them and knowing like why I took my first solo cruise over Thanksgiving, it just meant the world to me. And that has just been the highlight of the year for me. Like, nothing could top that. Like, Tyler Perry is pretty great. Greece is pretty amazing. But hosting that group cruise and seeing my vision like come together, like, there were so many times that I just stood back and I just smiled. Like, I feel like a mama just watching her whole little babies and her project just come to life. And so I would just stand back and just see everybody laughing. And of course, so many of the women, like, I got to connect with them one-on-one and talk to them about what this trip meant to them and talk to them about why they decided to come, and, you know, just hear about how they had been waiting to do something like this. And, you know, a lot of them hadn't taken vacation in years. And so to know that I was the reason that people were able to create those memories and that I was able to give them that push to like live life and just find some bit of happiness in this crazy ass world meant so much to me. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me throughout this whole list of things. Of course, we have so much more to talk about Friendsgiving, as well as there's going to be one full experience vlog that's going to come out. But since you guys have stuck here, I am going to give you a little bit of a preview from what happened during Friendsgiving 2023. So, if you don't know, we were on Virgin Voyage to Scarlet Lady. We went to Cozumel and to Bimini. So here is that sneak peek here.
It's cruise day!
Happy birthday to you. So that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for hanging with me and rocking with me and following. Be sure to comment, be sure to subscribe if you have not, and I will see you guys in 2024. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Peace. We out.